Hey guys, Logan here from Popular Woodworking Magazine. You know, as woodworkers, we really like to show off our material. So a lot of times when we're building furniture, we apply a nice clear finish. But there are some times, especially in shop projects, that may not be the best solution. Clear finishes do have a place, such as this unit behind me. It's bolted birch plywood and has a lacquer finish. It's easy to clean and it looks good. But with something like a shop-made tool, I want a little bit higher end finish. And that's when I'm gonna reach for a good painted finish. It's gonna be durable, it's gonna make the tool look nicer, and it's gonna last for years to come. So in this video, I wanna show you a couple of simple steps to get a perfect painted finish on your projects. So when it comes to a painted finish, I found that there are 3 steps that you really need to take to get a good quality finish. The first is going to be surface prep, and this is probably the most important. You want to make sure whatever you're applying paint on is a good solid base. And we'll talk about that in a minute and how we're going to take care of this pedestal base for a shop-made disc sander. The next step is going to be to use a good quality primer. That's going to be the foundation that your top coat's going to stick to. And finally, you want to pick a good quality top coat that's going to be durable and is going to last for years to come. So let's talk about this real quick. So this is the pedestal for a shop-made disc sander that I'm working on, and I want it to have a painted finish. It's gonna look really nice. It's gonna look like it's a tool that I bought, but in reality, I built it here in the shop for a fraction of the price, and it's gonna be really fun to use a shop-made tool. Now, I've built this out of MDF. And MDF is a great material to paint. It accepts paint really well, but we do have to do a few things first. Now, obviously, we have a few screw holes here on each side where we've connected this pedestal to the base and then this top plate. We want to take care of those. And the edges of MDF, when you cut it, are porous. So those are going to accept paint differently than the surfaces are. So we want to make sure that we seal those edges so that we get a uniform look all the way around. In a perfect world, once this has that top coat applied, you're not going to be able to see that this is built of multiple layers of MDF. It's going to look like one solid cast iron piece, which will be really cool. And we can achieve that with proper surface prep. So the first thing we need to do is fill a lot of these voids. I have screw holes, I have a little gap here where these layers of MDF are coming together, and then of course we have these edges of the MDF. So how are we going to fill those? Well, I'm going to use a product called Durham's Rock Hard Water-Based Putty. This is a putty that comes in a tin and it's dry. You mix it to the consistency that you want, which works really well for this application. Depending on if I'm filling gaps like these screw holes or these voids, or if I'm sealing the edges, I can mix it a little bit thinner or a little bit thicker, whatever the task needs. And the other thing I like is that it accepts paint really well. So once I get it in there, it's dried, and I sand it, it's gonna paint just the same as the MDF will. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop open this 4-pound can of Durhams because I'm gonna use quite a bit of filler on this to seal all of these edges. So we will just start off with a good sized tub. And the key here is to really mix what you need immediately because this will dry pretty quickly. We don't want to mix more than we need and have it dry in our little disposable container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up enough to start working on the screw holes that's on this surface here. So we'll just put a little bit in there. And then I have a measuring cup full of water. Definitely didn't steal this out of the kitchen. And we're going to add a bit of water and we're going to start mixing it up. Okay, now you can see we're starting to get to a little bit thinner than what I would call peanut butter consistency. And I think peanut butter consistency is what I want for these screw holes. But this is looking pretty good. We want to make sure that we don't have any chunks in the bottom. We want to really make sure that it's thoroughly mixed, nice and smooth. Okay, and we'll go a little more powder. And that's the key with this stuff is there's really no right or wrong consistency. It's just whatever your application needs. And you mix it up to that degree. There we go. There we go. And that is a pretty good consistency. It's about what I would call drywall mud consistency, maybe a really, really thick pancake batter. And I think it's will work nicely for this. So I'm going to use the end of this glue brush. And I do want to make sure that wherever I'm applying it, I don't have any dust in the holes because we want it to stick down in there. And then I'm just going to slide it around over top. And I'm going to make sure that I push it down into that void. We want to make sure there's no air pockets underneath because when we sand it, the air pocket might poke through and we'd have to come back and fill it a second time. Now, unlike other fillers that might shrink as they dry, this Durham's putty will actually expand a little bit. So if I can get this thing nice and flat on top, once it dries, it's going to expand and poke up a little bit, which is going to be perfect because then I can use a hard sanding block and sand it perfectly flush. Okay, there we go. Now because I have more, I'm just going to start working on some of these other cracks here. And I'm going to do this until everything that I have mixed up starts to dry. Once it starts to dry, I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to start trying to rush and pack it in. I'm just going to set it off to the side and mix up a new batch so that I'm using fresh filler every time. Okay. Now, while I have plenty mixed up, let's talk about these edges. Because these are porous, as I mentioned, they're going to soak up a lot of paint. Now, another thing that I really like about Durham's is that it's non-hazardous. So I can actually use my finger to come in here and I can smear this on that end grain and really, really pack it in. And this is an instance where I may mix in a little bit more water just to make this a little bit thinner and let it soak in. Because it's water-based, don't worry about the MDF. The MDF may absorb a little bit of the water from the putty, but all it's going to do is cause it to cure that much faster. You're not going to get any excessive swelling on the MDF. So we're just going to work that into what I'm going to call the end grain of the MDF and really, really seal up those edges. There we go. All right, now I'm going to continue to work on this, but I'm going to keep an eye on these areas that I filled. What's going to happen as this water-based putty cures, it's going to change color slightly. And you'll see that especially on the screw holes. The outside of the putty where it starts to dry first will get lighter, and the inside will be a little bit darker. Once it's all changed color, I know it's fully dry and it's ready for sanding. Okay, I think I've made a sufficient mess for now. And as you can see, as I'm continuing to apply putty in different areas, some of those areas I've already hit have started to cure and the color is changing from kind of that mustard color to a lighter, almost white color. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cure, and then we'll go ahead and do the bottom side of this. But one of the other benefits of this being a water-based putty is I can just go wash my hands and wash all this off. So we'll come back once this is cured and talk about how we sand it. All right, now that this putty started to cure, we can go ahead and start sanding it. Now, because Durham's Rock Hard Putty is a hard putty, we want to be careful about how we sand it. It sands a little bit harder than the material around it, whether that's MDF or hardwood. So if you are using something like just sandpaper in your hand and you're trying to sand it, a lot of the times what you can do is you can actually wear away the material around the putty versus the putty itself. And you're going to create a divot, and it's going to be counterintuitive because you're going to start creating wrinkles where you don't want wrinkles. So instead what we're going to use is a hard sanding block. This is going to give us good flat sanding surfaces so that we can feather stuff out. And at this point, this is kind of like doing drywall work. We're trying to feather out all of these joints and all of this putty and make it nice and smooth. And the other thing that I'm going to point out is as you're sanding, a lot of the times it's going to clog up the sandpaper. So what I'll do is I'll grab a brass brush and I will just quickly brush the sandpaper, and that removes all that putty dust. and it's gonna extend the life of the sandpaper. Now there are a couple of areas on here, like these screw holes, that are pretty deep. And I don't wanna touch those just yet because I don't think they're fully cured. But all of these joints and end grain that I packed, those are dry enough that I can go ahead and start sanding those. Okay, so now that I have all the sanding done, it's time for the second step, and that's gonna be applying a good quality primer. Now, I have touched up everything that I can see, and as you are walking around your project, a lot of times you'll see ridges here or there. I've smoothed out all of those that I can, but it doesn't mean that as soon as I start applying the primer, those aren't gonna pop up again. And that's okay if they do, because once that primer's dry, I can come back, sand that down, and reapply the primer. We just want to make sure that we get most of them gone right away. Now, I don't really particularly care for one brand over the other for a primer. I just want to make sure that it is what is labeled as a high build primer. Sometimes it will say a high hiding primer. This means that it has really high solids and it's going to build up nice and thick on the top of the surface, so it will hide any of those little imperfections. Now, how you apply this primer is up to you. For something like this where I have a lot of large flat surface area, spraying works really well, as does a foam roller. What I'll do is I'll apply this with a foam brush into the corners first, and then I'll use the roller to cover most of the area. And as I mentioned, if I notice any areas where there's ridges where that Durham's putty has left a ridge between the putty and the joint and my flat surface, I'll take note of that, and then once it's dry, I'll come back and sand that down and reapply the primer. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Next time you're in your shop working on a project and it needs a painted finish, follow these 3 steps to get a good quality project at the end of it. Start with a high quality filler and spend some time doing some good surface prep. Next, apply a high quality primer that's gonna give you a good base for a nice top coat. And pick a good top coat that's gonna last a really long time. I like something like a hammered finish or a spray enamel. It's gonna pay off in the long run.